The cosmic Emperor Zolthorn stood upon the observation deck of his dreadnought, gazing at the smoldering remains of Colony 7. The blue-green planet that had once teemed with human life now bore the scars of orbital bombardment, vast craters where cities had stood, oceans boiling into steam, forests reduced to ashdot in his 3,000 years of existence. Zolthan had conquered 472 worlds. He had extinguished 63 sentient species. He had perfected the art of domination through fear, and fear was most effectively cultivated through the elimination of hope itself. The children. Report. His voice resonated through the bridge, a sound like grinding continental plates. 5,731 juvenile humans terminated. Excellency, his tactical officer announced. The educational facilities were eliminated as prioritized. Zolthan nodded, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the dying light of the planet below. Humans were proving troublesome. They spread too quickly, adapted too readily, and worst of all, they inspired other species with their irrational concepts of freedom and dignity. The systematic elimination of their youth would break their spirit within a generation. Excellency, we're receiving a transmission. The communications officer interrupted. Single source, surface-based, ignore it. Sir, it's persistent. The human is bypassing our jamming protocols. Zolthan's interest peaked. Impossible. Our encryption, they've cracked it, sir. 17 times. We change frequencies. They follow. For the first time in centuries, Zolthan felt something approaching curiosity. Visual. The holographic display materialized before him. A human male, young by their standards, perhaps 30 rotations, stood amidst the rubble of what had been a school. His face was covered in dust and blood, but his eyes burned with something Zolthan had seen before in the dying moments of countless species. Defiance. I am Asher, the human said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. You killed my daughter, Elizabeth. She was 6 years old. Zolthan had heard such words before. Grief-stricken parents across the galaxy had hurled similar accusations at him. They all said the same things: pleas for mercy, promises of surrender, threats of revenge that never materialized. Human, Zolthorn began, his voice amplified to shake the very ground where Asher stood. Your offspring's termination serves a purpose beyond your comprehension. Your species know. Such a small word, such an insignificant sound, yet something in its delivery made Zolthorn pause. You will surrender or no? There it was again, not screamed in anguish, not whispered in defeat, simply stated, as immutable as physical law. Asher took a step forward, closer to the transmission device he'd jury-rigged from the wreckage. You think you've broken us. You think killing our children will make us submit. He laughed, a sound devoid of humor. You don't understand humans at all. Zolthorn had lived for 3 millennia. He had studied warfare, psychology, and the nature of power itself. I understand that your species, like all others, will choose survival over you. Killed 5,731 children today. Asher interrupted. Do you know what that means? That's 5,731 families who now have nothing left to lose. That's 11,462 parents who will never sleep soundly again. That's tens of thousands of siblings, friends, teachers, and neighbors who will remember every single name. Grief fades, Zolthan countered. Time heals. You're wrong. Asher's voice dropped to barely above a whisper, yet it carried more weight than any scream. You've made your greatest mistake, Emperor. You've given us clarity. From the shadows behind Asher, more figures emerged. Dozens at first, then hundreds, then thousands. Men and women, young and old, all bearing the same expression. Not rage, not hatred, but absolute determination. We were divided, Asher continued. Humans argued about borders, resources, beliefs. We were easy to conquer because we couldn't unite. But you, he smiled, though tears streaked through the dust on his face, you gave us a common purpose. Zolthorn felt something he hadn't experienced in millennia: uncertainty. You cannot. Elizabeth loved to draw, Asher said, his voice cracking for the first time. She drew pictures of aliens and humans playing together. She believed in a universe where we could all be friends. He looked directly into the camera, directly into Zolthan's ancient eyes. You killed that dream. Now we'll build a different one. The transmission ended abruptly. Zolthorn stood in silence, his tactical displays showing the estimated military capacity of the remaining human forces. Mathematically, they couldn't win. Logically, resistance was futile. But something had changed in that moment, though Zoltan couldn't quantify it. That single word, no, delivered with such finality, had carried within it something his calculations couldn't measure. Over the following months, Zoltan learned what that word meant. Human ships, cobbled together from salvaged parts, and powered by engines that shouldn't work, began striking his supply lines. Human soldiers who should have surrendered fought to the last breath, and in their dying moments, each one spoke the names of the children, all 5,731 of them. They turned it into a battle hymn, a prayer, a promise. Elizabeth, Marcus, Chen, Fatima. The names echoed across communication channels. Other species, those who had submitted to Zoltan's rule, began hearing those names too. They began asking questions. If humans could say no, why couldn't they? Within a year, 17 subjugated species had rebelled. Within 2 years, Zoltan's empire was fractured. Within 3 years, he found himself cornered in his throne world, surrounded by a coalition fleet, led by humans. Asher's face appeared on his screen one final time. You wanted to know what that word meant, Asher said. No, it means that there are lines even monsters shouldn't cross. It means that some things can't be conquered or killed. It means that you've forgotten the most important rule of the universe. The most dangerous thing you can create is people with nothing left to lose and everything to remember. Zoltan's last thought, as the antimatter torpedoes breached his shields, was of a single human child he'd never met, who'd loved to draw pictures of friendship between species. Her name was Elizabeth, and in dying, she had done what 3,000 years of conquest could not. She had united a galaxy against tyranny, one no at a time.